the book of Enoch. Okay? The book of Enoch comes from the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered 100 years ago or so, longer, in Israel, Palestine area, in a cave. In these jars, there were all these scrolls. These scrolls were the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, as well as many of the ancient prophets, the book of Isaiah, etc., etc. Included, there was called the book of Enoch. These texts are 100% exact. The book of Genesis, the book of Exodus, the book of Deuteronomy, etc., they're 100% exact compared to any other texts that have been found. The difference being the Dead Sea Scrolls are the oldest versions of the Old Testament known to mankind. It is the oldest written book of Genesis, Exodus, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Deuteronomy, etc. The oldest one. And it is 100% accurate because every one they found after that, it matches. There's a book in there called the Book of Enoch, which has not been found before. The Book of Enoch was part of the original Bible for Christians and Jews and then taken out. The problem is the Book of Enoch, who was the great-grandfather of Noah, the Book of Enoch is unique. It was written by Enoch, allegedly, because it's in first person. It says, I, Enoch, watched God come down from the sky on his chariot of fire. And when the chariot landed, the chariot door opened, and God stepped out in all his glory. And he spoke to me not in a language that I heard with my ears, but I perceived within my soul. And he took me on his chariot, and the chariot lifted off from the earth. And as it flew high above the earth, I looked down upon the earth, and God said, look, Enoch, at the round sphere you call earth. And God pointed to the moon and said, Enoch, the moon does not have its own light, but rather reflects the light of the sun. And God took me to his palace, floating in the heavens. That's the Book of Enoch. Sounds like a alien abduction to me. A couple things about this. Of course, at that time, nobody thought that the earth was round. And secondly, no one knew that the moon reflected the sun. They thought the moon shone like the sun. No one imagined or knew that the moon didn't have its own light, didn't produce its own light, but rather just reflected the light of the sun. But it's in the Book of Enoch. So it's a great book to discuss evidence that aliens came and visited.